Hello, I am that Jane Doe. I'm the creator of the Omni Grid, an add-on mod for Refined Storage 2. To get started, you'll need to create an Omni crafting assembly and an Omni transport module. Using GAI, you can check out their recipes. They require a variety of parts from Refined Storage 2. And once you have those two components, you can use them to upgrade a portable grid to an Omni grid. During the upgrade process, you put a storage disk inside, it'll be retained in the finished product. So you put the portable grid in, put the two components. The new Omni grid will keep that disk. So much like the portable grid, you'll need to charge it. The Omni grid supports up to 8 storage disks. It only needs 1 to operate. In this case, I'm going to just use an item disk, and you can put items in and take them out. I'll leave fluid disk, so you can mix and match fluid and item disks. There's also a crafting grid if you need. You can just use it, take items. And also you can spread out. You can spread out by holding shift and pushing this button. Or to balance the counts of the items, you can just push that and it'll even it out. The Omni grid can be placed with a shift right click, and it can also be picked up, much like backpack mods. Similar to backpacks, you can actually pipe in items directly into the grid using a pipe or some other type of automation. And you'll see the items are being piped into the storage. Be advised, this only works if an applicable disk is installed. So if you remove this disk, you'll simply not be able to push items in. Same goes for water. Here I have an infinite water source, and I can just do this, and the water will start flowing in. If you wish to pipe items out of the Omni grid, you'll have to use a command slot. You'll notice there's a 4x4 slots on the right side in the GUI. So you'd want to click any one slot, push provide, and then push any direction. So in this case, left. And in this case, items will start being able to be piped out. But let's say I want a specific item to be piped out. You can assign this, and then now it'll only export the grass block. And now the grass block's being piped out. So the Omni grid can be assigned various commands using these options, and this is individual for each slot. In this case, I'm just using grass. You can further customize what gets exported using this option here, where you can add fuzzy, mod, or tag, or component-based filtering. So let's say I want to export netherite, and this, if I put mod, it'll now export anything from the mod Minecraft, but it's not going to export the speed upgrade because it's not from Minecraft. And also do a component, say max stack size. I'll be unable to move the wench because it does not stack to 64, but granite does stack to 64, so now it's getting pushed out. I'm going to go through each of these command options. Pull. Push pull to the right, and I'll put a chest here. Pull will extract resources from the direction. So let's say I put endstone, put some planks. You'll notice they're getting removed from the chest. Grid is actively pulling items with stack size 64, and just leave it at precise. I can also configure an exact item. In this case, it's configured to grass block, so it'll only extract grass block from the chest. Of course, I can also just configure this. I'd say I can just change it to magma block if I wanted to, and it'll only pull the magma block. The next command I'll explain is collect, which is the ender pearl over a hopper. This will pick up items within a 2-block range, but the range can be extended with upgrades, which I'll explain later. If you push to put some items, the grid will automatically pick them up, as long as within the 2-block range. if you place an item in the command slot, it'll only pick up that one item, unless you like use this filter. So in this case, chest. So it's not going to pick up the pipes, but it will pick up the chest. If you just leave it blank, then it'll just pick up anything. Most commands will work with any item if you leave it blank. The next command is push. And this will move items in the selected direction. I'm going to put a chest behind it this time. And I can do push. Let's say I want to push diorite. Push to the back. Now I just put diorite in. And the diorite is being pushed into the chest behind it. You can put up to 16 different commands at a time, but do be aware it goes in a round robin order. So if you put multiple commands that involve moving items, it'll move slower. However, if you put commands like provide, it's not going to affect the speed. So the next command I'll be explaining is blacklist. So I've explained earlier that using pipes, you can pipe items in, using, well, any kind of automation really. But like, say, stuff gets put in. But what if I don't want an item inserted? That's where blacklist comes in handy. So we have blacklist left. This will prevent the item from being inserted in that direction. So let's say I want to blacklist magma block. So if I put, say, granite in, it'll get inserted as normal. If I put magma block in, it'll not be able to be inserted. It'll still insert other items, but just not blacklisted items in that direction. First, you can use the mode configuration, like, say, mod Minecraft, and now it'll ban any item that is not from in Minecraft. So pipe still gets moved because that's not a Minecraft. That's not from Minecraft. Oh yeah, another thing I should mention is the invert button, which is this here. This will flip the logic of any command. So if I push invert, now it'll only allow items from Minecraft. It's going to blacklist anything that is not from Minecraft. The next command I'll explain is search, which this one will search all nearby containers for a specific resource. In this case, I'll just put a bunch of chests nearby, and put some oak planks inside. Now it'll search all nearby containers. Okay, it actually already found the item, but you can specify an item, like say magma block, and just magma block inside, and now it already located magma block. You'll have to configure a direction for it to search. Be aware it doesn't find the item immediately. It searches only a fraction of blocks in range. And if it searches every block and can't find the proper resource, it'll just go into idle state temporarily. If you simply leave this blank, like most other commands, it'll search for any item. The next command I'm going to explain is external storage. This simply uses an adjacent block as an external storage. Let's say I have this, and I have, tons of grass inside. Now, if I use external storage, I can just do this, and now it'll read the block next to it. Now it's using this as external storage. So you start taking grass out from here, it gets removed from this chest. On a side note, the Omni grid can work with fluids to a degree. You can assign a fluid to a command slot, and it works with provide, pull, push, and external storage. If I want to say move this water out from the Omni grid into the tank, I can simply do push and move the white. Now the grid will start pushing water into the fluid tank. Pull also works the same way, and change it to pull, and now it'll start pulling the water out of the tank. Another thing I should mention is you can use external storage. I have an infinite lava source here. If I just use external storage, you'll now have access to the lava. And now you can just use it whenever you want. Now going back into commands, the next command I'm going to explain is compress. Compress simply tries to compress the item into a storage equivalent. It's particularly good with nuggets, because if you like put nuggets, because nuggets can be compressed into ingots. Say compress. The grid will start trying to craft iron ingots. If you have a variety of metal types, you may consider trying to change the tag, like see nuggets. So now it'll convert anything with the tag nuggets, and I can put like gold nuggets inside. And now has been converted as well. For this next part, I'm going to be explaining item form. I'm going to just pick it up. And in item form, there's a few limitations with what commands you can use. Notably, you can't use provide, blacklist, or external storage, but you can still use collect. Let's say I just put it on collect, and I just drop some items nearby, and they'll get picked up by the storage system. In item form, you can't use these directions, as this is only for block form, but you can use target player and target player containers. To explain those first. To explain pull takes items from the container, but if you configure the player, you'll notice it'll start taking the items from the player and immediately putting them into the storage. Much like you can just configure this to a certain resource. You can do glass, or I can do pipe, and it'll just start pulling pipes from my inventory. This is really useful if you're looting a structure, as you can move items into the storage. So you may be thinking, what is item containers? To do that, I'm going to take a backpack. And these three chests in the top right corner, this is how you select the marked item container. In this case, I'm going to put a backpack here, and I'll put my stuff inside the backpack. So what this command does is it'll actually pull items from the backpack or any other storage items that I put in these slots. So in this case, I want to take... Yeah, you'll see the pipes are getting removed from the backpack. Now it's moving glass. Okay, this is kind of taking a bit long, so I'm going to explain upgrades. So the Omni grid has 4 upgrade slots and accepts up to 3 or 4 different types of upgrades, 3 of which are from refined storage 2. The first is speed, which simply increases the weight that it moves items. You'll notice the grass is being taken faster. Next, I'm going to explain stack upgrades. By default, the Omni grid moves 1 item at a time. Currently, I set it to move 1 diorite at a time to the player, which is me because I'm holding it. But if I put a stack upgrade, it will now move 1 stack at a time. Now pushing it to player, pull, puts it back into storage. But if you put more than 1 stack upgrades, it'll start moving multiple stacks. And this can move items very quickly. Now next, I'm going to explain range upgrades. I might as well just fill all these upgrade slots because I can. Range extends the range of certain commands, notably collect, which is now 8 block range. Now I can collect items very far away. Search. Search will now go up to 8 blocks. Do be aware it's going to take a bit longer because it has to search more blocks with this option. And it also extends the range of remote block targets, which I'll be explaining shortly. The energy upgrade is not from refined storage. It's included with the OmniGrid mod, and it can be crafted the same way as other upgrades. When inserted into the OmniGrid, it'll increase its max capacity by 100% per upgrade. The default is 10,000 power, but with 3 upgrades it becomes 40,000. In addition, each energy upgrade will have the energy consumption. The OmniGrid will consume energy when doing certain tasks, such as pull, collect, push, search, and compress. So if you are moving large amounts of items, you should consider Omni Energy Upgrade, unless you have a constant power source. And the last thing I want to explain is remote block targets, which are these 8 options. This allows you to move items remotely as long as the target block is in range. So let's say I want to move items into this chest. You'll have to shift left click to container to add it as a block target. So shift and click this. Now the OmniGrid will record that location. And now you can select this as a target location, or command in this case. Let's say I want to transfer my polished diorite. It's just diorite that just got compressed by a command earlier. I want to push diorite to that target, and now all my diorite is now moved inside. Okay, that was a bit fast. I'm going to just move these upgrades. I'm going to just do pull, and now the OmniGrid is now pulling items from it. Just a little note, you can put it in a curio slot and it'll just work the same as normal. The OmniGrid can record a maximum of 8 locations. I do another slot, green, and the colors shown highlighted are shown here. You'll only see the colors if you're holding the OmniGrid in your hand. I have a green, and this is full of grass blocks. I'm going to send my gold ingots to that spot, push, and the gold is being sent. So something you should be aware of, it does have a limited range. It says range 6 blocks. The moment I'm out of range, it will turn red, the text, because it's out of range. Once I get into range, it should work again. If you want to clear any of these slots, you just have to right click the target block, like this. Let's say I have a large array of automation I want to send an item to. This is a good use case for connected mode. By default, the grid will only transfer to the targeted block. So I'm going to transfer cobblestone. Now it's sent cobblestone to this furnace, but not these other ones. What connected mode will do is it'll immediately send this resource to all connected automations of the same type, in this case furnace. The OmniGrid's wireless functions take into account chunk claims. You cannot set a chunk claimed block as an OmniGrid target. Additionally, you cannot take from it using search. In this case, I don't know. Yeah, the grid is trying to take from the chest, but it's unable to do so. Because it uses the player's, checks if the player is allowed to interact with that block. This also includes item form. If I place the grid down, say push 3, grid will, yeah, the grid is trying to take from this chest, but it's unable to due to the plane. The OmniGrid can be dyed any vanilla color. Simply put a dye into a crafting grid and then take it, and the new one will have all the same data. You can see here, these are all the dyed variants, and these are special skins. These you cannot get with dyes. To apply a special skin, you'll need to create an Omni decoration template by combining 3 dyes and 2 smithing templates of any type, as well as some enriched copper. Once you have that, go to a smithing table and combine it with a specific item in an Omni grid to apply the special skin. Here's an example automation that uses the Omni grid. I want to fill this barrel here with iron blocks and spirit crystal blocks from power. And this machine is going to turn cobblestone into flint and iron nuggets. It's going to do a bunch of processing. So the first step is I'm going to need cobblestone from this chest, and it's going to need to be placed into here. So I'm just register that. And this should start outputting gravel to get to that part. And the grid's going to be sending the gravel here to these depots to be bulk washed. And so I should do that. It's going to start sending iron nuggets into the Omni grid. And it's going to be compressed. And then we're going to be sent to here. But I also need to turn the flint into emeralds by sending it to these villagers. And I'm going to just put it as a block target so we can take the emeralds out from it. And finally, the emeralds are going to go back into the grid and then pushed into the module router. And this is configured to move emeralds into the orbs and leave only one emerald at a time. And then I can have this take the spirited crystals out when it's done. And I can just do that since I can just use connected to link all of them. So I believe 2, 3, 4. And finally I should push this because this is the destination. Okay. So first step, I need to get cobblestone by using external storage behind, and now it has access to this cobblestone. And then I want to send cobblestone to that chest up there. So now we have cobblestone being sent to here. Now it's going to start dropping gravel. Let's take some gravel. Now I need to pick up the gravel automatically. In that case, I use collect. Now gravel is being inserted. So the gravel needs to be put on the depots so it can be bulk washed. And let's see, push to depots. Well, now it's only this depot because that's the only one that's linked. But I can do connect, and now it's putting the gravel on all of the depots. I want to do the inverse. I want to take non-gravel from the depots. I'm going to put gravel and then invert it. Target depot and pull. And now the storage is full of nuggets and flint. It's not taking from all of them. It's only taking from this one that's linked. So I'm going to do connected mode. And now it took all of the iron nuggets and flint from all the depots. And now we have plenty to work with. So first, let's do some compression. I1. Here's anything about iron here? Nope. Okay, so I guess do nuggets. Well, this can be compressed. And now we have iron ingots. But I want to compress that as well. So I'll do this and compress. And the iron block can be sent to export. So we have our iron blocks, but we still need to do spirit crystals. Now that I have all this flint, get myself a wench. Push this in. So in order for the grid to provide the flint, I just need to do this and provide. Now the pipes is able to take the flint out of the Omni grid and give it to these traders. He should be taking the emeralds out. So next I'm going to configure emerald. emerald target auto trader connected pull. So now, whenever it trades an emerald, the Omni Grid will automatically take it. Now we have emeralds. Next, I just push it to the left, because it needs to go into the modular router. That way, these can get charged. So I'll just push. The router has them, and it will start charging. But we have a bit of an issue. The thermal generator is running out of power, and it needs water in order to operate. So under this Omni Grid, there's actually a water source, which is the sink right below, and I can just use that as external storage. So below and external storage, and now I have a water supply, and then I just push the water into the thermal generator. Forwards, and now it's full of water. So good, we have a constant power source. Okay, it looks like the spirited crystals are done. Since I already have that registered location, I can do this, and then, oh wait, hold on. I should not take emeralds from that location. So invert and pull. So now it should be taking it to connected, and now it's taking the spirited crystals out of these orbs once they're done charging. Because as it's inverted, it'll take any item that's not an emerald. And finally, the very last step, compress. So once I have 9 of these spirit crystals, I'll get a block. Okay, and now I have my block of spirit crystals. I've used all 16 slots. So do final and push. And now I have my output. I got a source of iron blocks and block of spirited crystal. So that is my example for the Omni Grid. You'll be aware the more commands that involve moving items, it'll rotate between them, so it could slow down a bit. So I recommend just using lots of speed and stack upgrades if you're moving lots of items. So I'm going to keep updating the Omni Grid to add more compatibility. I'm going to see if I can get fluids to work with the remote block transfers, and hopefully add mechanism support once I've finished that. So that's all I need to say about the mod for now.